Hi, I'm Mr. Steinberg. Welcome to your first clarinet lesson. Today we're going to learn how to take the reed and put it on the mouthpiece and barrel, and how to put the ligature over that reed before you make your first sound. So here we go. First thing you need for today is a reed, cork grease, your barrel, which is the little short piece that's in there, looks like that, the mouthpiece, and a ligature. Okay, so step one is you take the reed out of the box or out of the case very, very carefully, because you never want to hurt the tip of the reed. These are very expensive reeds, and once you crack the tip, they're not really that usable. So you take the thin end of the reed and you put it in your mouth like this, and don't bite it. And you probably can't understand me now, but don't bite the reed, just keep it moist in there. It doesn't taste that great, but it doesn't taste that bad either. So the thin part of your reed goes in your mouth like this. And while you're doing all the rest of the lesson, you've got the reed soaking in your mouth. So I'm going to put my reed aside so you can actually understand what I'm saying. Next thing you're going to do while the reed's in your mouth is you're going to take the cork grease out, and it kind of looks like chapstick, but don't use it like chapstick because it doesn't taste all that great. And you're going to put it on the cork of the mouthpiece, just lightly. You don't need a ton of it. You just need a little bit of it. You can put it on like that. You can use your fingers and get your fingers a little greasy if you want. It feels kind of good. And then you put that onto the barrel. It only fits on easily one way. This is loose, so that's obviously too big. So you turn the barrel around and you put it on and kind of twist it a little bit till it goes on. It shouldn't fall off. So now you've got those two pieces connected. Okay, next thing you do is you take the ligature, which is the metal piece with the two screws on it, and you find the open part of the mouthpiece like this, and you slip it on over the top so the screws are on the right as you're looking at it. Just like you are like this in this video, you see that the ligature screws are off to the right, and that's how you want it, right in front of you. Now, if your ligature screws are too tight before you put it on, you'll notice that you won't be able to push this down as far as it needs to go. It only goes down a little bit. Now, you need to fit a reed underneath there, so what I need you to do is loosen up the screws a little bit so there's a space for the reed to go. Don't loosen them all the way, just loosen it up so you see that little gap that's right there. That's what you want, so that when I have you put the reed on, it's going to hold the reed and be in the proper place. So we'll get to that in just one moment. So make sure you've loosened up the screws enough that you've got a little gap there. Okay? Now the next step, this is the trickiest part, because again, you don't want to break the tip of the reed. You want to make sure it's been moist, and you're going to take the reed and always handle it at the bottom part here. Never put your fingers up at the top of that reed where you could break it. Be really careful. That was the bell here at Miller Creek. Anyway, never put your fingers here where you can break that. You have to treat that like gold. Okay? So this is now kind of the trickiest thing that takes practice, and that is how you lift up the ligature with your thumb. Let me see if I can get the right angle here. You're going to hold this, come on camera, there we go. You're going to hold this mouthpiece ligature in your left hand, you're going to hold the reed in your right hand, and you're going to lift the ligature up to make room for the reed, and then you're going to carefully slide the flat part of the reed, the part with the writing on it, part that says Rico or Van Doren or whatever it says. For you it'll say Rico, and you slide it down over the opening and underneath the ligature. Notice I'm using my thumb to guide it on this part, but I'm not using a finger at the top where I can break it. I'm being really, really super careful. And you guide the reed down until it's even with the top of the mouthpiece. You don't want it way up here. That would be too high. And you don't want it to disappear down here. You want it to be even with the top of the mouthpiece. Again, I'm using my fingers just to guide it gently while I'm holding the ligature up and it's loose. Now, I'm going to loosen the ligature even more so that the ligature comes down below the smile of the reed. Again, I'm using my thumbs to adjust it. And the smile of the reed is where you see a cutout, looks like a happy face right there. There's the cut part, and then there's the other part of the bamboo that's not cut. So you want the ligature to go down low enough that it's just below the smile of the reed, like that. Now you're going to check and see, is the reed even with the top? Can you see a little teeny sliver of it, like a fingernail or a toenail? That's kind of gross, but anyway, above the mouthpiece. If you see this much, it's too much. So once you know that the reed is completely even, not too high and not too low, and the ligature is below the curve of the reed, the cut part of the reed, at that point you can tighten the ligature. Just enough so the reed doesn't move back and forth, but not so much that you're breaking screws. Just take it easy on that reed. You don't want it to move around. Okay? Voila. There you go. Ta-da. You always say ta-da when you're done with something because that means you've really accomplished something. It's ta-da. So that is the end of the first lesson, and hopefully you'll practice that and maybe have your parents help you with it so that when we meet for the first time with instruments, we can have you all doing that, and then I can show you how to put the reed over your lip, put your teeth on top of the mouthpiece, and make that first sound. Be careful if you're going to try it without me, if you have a parent that plays or if you're taking a private lesson at the music store, just be careful of the tip of the reed because we don't want to have you show up the very first day in band with a reed that is not good. Here's a reed that I pulled out of a case that has chips in it already. See if you can see that. So that's a reed that's going to sound okay, but it may squeak and sound funny. So we want to make sure that your reed's in good condition. So thank you for watching this. Thank you for practicing. The next lesson will be how to make that sound. Thank you.